world in conflict is a Cold War conflict. It takes place in 1989. Imagine if the Berlin Wall didn't fall and the Cold War went hot. Soviets invade Europe and the United States, and so throughout the World in Conflict campaign, the player will actually be able to do combat on U.S. soil and as well as key locations in Europe and Russia. The first thing a player does is they get to choose a side, US or USSR. And in certain European maps, the player will be able to choose to play as NATO. So I'm going to go ahead and choose USA here. And right after choosing a side, you get to choose a role: armor, infantry, air, or support. And when a user chooses a role, they get to build a mix of units in that role that's cheaper than any other player in any other role. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose armor here because it looks like it's most needed. And after choosing a role, you get to choose a drop zone. In this dotted area, you can place a drop zone where your units will be dropped in after you order them. So I'm going to choose the front line here because I'm the armor role. Right after choosing a drop zone, click reinforcements, and you'll see that in the upper right-hand corner here, the player has 6,000 credits to spend, and they can choose to order up any mix of units they want. I'm going to go ahead and queue up some heavy tanks and light tanks here, click deploy, and in about 20 seconds, my guys will land right there at my drop zone. So within 30 seconds of joining a match, the player will have a fighting force worthy of engaging in combat. So as you might have noticed at this point, World in Conflict takes a slight departure from the traditional RTS in that there is no base building and there is no resource gathering. The developer, Massive, did this specifically to get players into the game as quick as possible, focusing on the combat, the action, the tactics of gameplay. Instead of having to build up resources, build up a town, tech up, and maybe within 15-30 minutes you can engage in your first fight. So I'm going to order up the units here. I'm playing domination mode, and in domination mode the objective is to capture and hold territory. And territory is indicated on the map by these control points. Right here, if I mouse over one of these circles, it shows me the interconnected circle that makes up this control point, the supermarket. And if I zoom out here to the mega map, this is a more tactical satellite view of the map. You'll see that all of the areas I can capture are labeled clearly. To zoom back in here, my units will be coming in, my resupplied units will be coming in shortly. When units are killed off in combat, their value is refunded to the player's bank, and in that way the player always has the opportunity to resupply the battlefield. And so this has two implications. A player that loses their entire fighting force is never marginalized to the point where they're simply waiting for defeat. On the flip side of that coin, it means that no one player can hoard resources to the point where they build an insurmountable army and simply wipe out the opposing force. When a team captures territory, their influence over the map is indicated here on the top by the domination meter. As you can see, the Soviet side is actually in more control right now, their flag occupying about 60% of the meter. So as players kill off enemy units, capture territory, repair, basically anything that helps their side, they gain what's called tactical aid points. And these are your special off-map abilities: your radar scan, your paratrooper drop, tank busters, bunker busters, artillery barrages, all the way up to a tactical nuke.